we're Undiscovered First, and I'm Christian Lee.
I'm Charlie Smith.
And this is our music podcast, and we're here with Spooky Cigarette. And we have two members of them right now with us. And why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Frank. I play keyboards and singing.
I'm Jacob. I play guitar and backup vocals.
And so we'll start off with some questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so last year you guys dropped like a critically acclaimed EP. Mm-hmm. And it has rave reviews. And so I just want to know what's the song you like playing on there, like in the most fun you guys have.
I think OL is probably...
That was my favorite one.
Yeah. I think that's like the most like bouncy one. It's the one we always open up with, so it's kind of like gets us going.
Yeah.
It's one of our oldest ones too. One of the first ones we learned. Well, maybe not the first, but it's for me. I like playing that one because it kind of gets me in the mindset. And
It has a very good energy. Yeah. I also really love playing Spiritual Hypochondriac. It's a lot more mellow and kind of brooding. But yeah, the energy of it's just
that riff is something else.
Yeah,
At the beginning,
it's a really fun song to play.
Yeah. So this might have to do with like those backyard shows you're talking about, but can you talk about the craziest show you guys have ever done?
What would you say, man?
Craziest. That's hard to say. I mean, yeah, house shows get pretty crazy. I remember we did one in South Bay, and it was like 8 o'clock at night, and it was when Pepe was like one of his first shows we played with him. Yeah, from Los Shadows, and he hooked up the show, and we played in this tiny ass little room.
I would say it's a room. It was a room maybe like
not even as big as
Wow, really?
maybe 2/3 to a half this size.
But like 50 people like packed and like
Nice.
getting in your face.
All these young kids doing bad things. I just slap them on the wrist and just like run outside and be like, we're not involved in any of this.
Yeah.
But it was, that one was pretty. Actually, you know what? I would say the raddest one we played was Top Space in L.A.
Oh,
So we
that one was
We played
really
this
cool.
show in L.A. Actually a month ago.
About a month, yeah.
A month ago,
Nice.
yesterday.
Yeah.
It was at this. It was at this warehouse in LA, but it was like on the 4th floor of this giant warehouse that looked like it was something out of like year 50 after zombies came, because all of the windows are broken. It's it looked abandoned. It genuinely looked abandoned as fuck. And so we cruise in, walking through this place. All of the doors are either boarded up or just have like massive amounts of graffiti. We get to this freight elevator that was kind of working off and on all night. And take this elevator like the 4 floors to the top level, and the doors open, and it's just. Did you go up the first time with me?
I don't think so. No.
So I got up there, and like the doors open, and this kid like has his back to me. He just like turns around like a vampire or something. Like he's just been blasted by light, and he has like some tinfoil. He's like smoking something off some tinfoil, and I'm like, oh, I have my heavy amp. I'm like, right on, dude. Just kind of like hobble into the venue. And set up, and it was this rad show organized by this guy. His name's Yue, but he goes by Minty Boy.
Minty Boy?
Yeah. He throws just the raddest like DIY shows up in LA.
Did the Tinfoil Boys stick around?
He did, yeah.
Did?
It was,
Okay.
and it was amazing. It was very LA, like very like hip kind of goth LA. So like all of the boys and all of the girls had makeup on. And all of the boys and all of the girls had hairy armpits and legs, and it was like...
You couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
It's so androgynous. Yeah, it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wish that people were that open about things in San Diego. There's, I feel like people in LA, it's more...
It's a different energy.
It's more accepted to be weird.
is, yeah.
It's more accepted to be as weird as you want to be, which is, what you hope for everybody. But
Yeah. I lived there during the year
Uh-huh.
for school, and I definitely, you see some stuff that you just don't see, and especially if you're in like Hollywood, like West Hollywood or any places like that.
there are wonderful weirdos out there.
Wonderful weirdos,
Yeah.
wonder weirdos, yeah.
You have to
experience. You have to get out there and experience some stuff.
Totally, and not to say that androgyny or gender fluidity is weird. Just to put that out there.
It's unusual for San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say that was the raddest one. It was burning hot. There were windows behind us that like overlooked downtown LA. It was just pretty crazy. Yeah.
So this next question might actually have happened at that last one, but what was the weirdest interaction you've had with a fan that you feel comfortable saying?
I would say actually the weirdest interaction we ever had with a fan was at this show we played with. Just because of the context, it was the show we played, one of our first shows at Whistle Stop. We played with some friends of ours, Bad Vibes, and these guys from San Francisco Spooky Mansion, which was oddly appropriate.
Yeah.
We ended up meeting these two girls who came up to us afterwards, dotingly talked to us for a second and kind of introduced themselves a little sheepishly, and then over the course of the next couple shows, we started noticing them at every single show. Over the course of time, we just became ridiculously good friends with these people, and it was I guess that's not weird, but it was just it was different. It's something that I hadn't experienced before.
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't really been in a band necessarily that had
People following you from
super fans.
Yeah,
and
cool.
it was and so Amara, Christina, if you guys are listening, we love you. They recently came down to this show in Ensenada we played, and we had just a weekend of wonderful debauchery. It's kind of beautiful how sometimes you can create those relationships and music can foster them.
Make friendships like that.
Yeah.
Just through the power of music,
Yeah, and it's funny because they know the words, which is that's really weird too. It's wow, you know the words, and then on top of that, we have all these effects going through the vocals.
Yeah.
So it's how do you know the words to this? Most people are complaining because they can't hear what I'm saying. But somehow you you have a secret recording or something. I don't know.
They probably do. I'll have to ask them. I bet they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's especially funny because the vast majority of our set is new stuff that we haven't released yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mara and Christina, we love you.
Okay, moving on to the next question. How close-knit do you feel the San Diego music scene is?
It's getting closer and closer. I mean, as always, there's different niches, I think, There's going to be some, metal or indie or whatever that's kind of way different from our scene. But with that said, I think a lot of people listen to a lot of different style of music nowadays. And so bands are kind of getting together, especially with kind of a festival-type craze going on. A lot of people going to, FYF or Desert Days. And a lot of those festivals will showcase different.
You get a little bit of everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think that's happening just kind of locally. I mean, there's bands we played with that, I would never think we would play with because we don't necessarily. But then because of the bill, there's 6 or 7 bands, and everybody knows each other and playing each other's bands.
Yeah, it's funny.
Kind of
San Diego has a very incestuous yet at the same time kind of very fractured scene.
Yeah.
Everybody plays in everybody else's bands, but that doesn't necessarily mean that anybody wants to help anybody out. Which is the tough part, because San Diego has always been artistically LA's little brother, and the only way that it's ever going to kind of get any sort of traction or relevancy is if people actually start to work together to slay the Goliath that is LA.
Yeah.
No, I'm not trying to start at LA.
Hear that, LA?
Yeah, Chargers versus Raiders.
Although I did write a song called I Hate LA once.
Who hasn't? Right?
Yeah, everybody's written a song called I Hate LA.
I think people who live in LA actually hate it.
Yeah,
I don't know anyone who's actually really loves LA.
Right, yeah.
Well, people always love aspects,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's most cities.
But then you sit in the 405 for 2 hours and you're why the fuck am I living here?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. For us, it's at my favorite bar trying to watch some rad band, and you just hear a bunch of dudes doing Jaeger bombs in the back, and you're
Right.
come on, hey bro, chill.
So not a fan of Jaeger.
Well, no, I'll do a Jaeger bomb if you buy it for me.
Yeah.
But I won't buy it. Yeah.
It's just the clientele who usually goes ham on Jaeger bombs, or
Any kind of bombs. Really.
uniquely.
Each drink does have a
Diego.
specific clientele that
Yeah.
usually goes along with it.
Actually, one thing that frustrates me about San Diego is that bros have basically taken over all access to the oceans. I mean, Pacific Beach, Mission Beach, Ocean Beach still has a hippie resistance that's trying to fight it.
Right.
But day by day, man, I feel
Little by
like
little, yeah.
I feel like every Jaeger bomb poured on that street is one hippie who just
Slowly dies inside.
slowly incinerates into some acid ether up above the city.
They're bros in disguise. They smoke weed, but then they party really hard. So all the obese stoners are just oh wait, you smoke weed?
Undercover bros.
Yeah.
Man.
Little do they know.
I think San Diego too. Everyone smokes.
Yeah.
It's hard to find. It's hard to find people that don't smoke weed in San Diego.
I feel like you're in the minority.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot easier to smoke weed when you don't have to sit in traffic for 2 hours.
Hey, there you go. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So following off that, what is your guys' favorite beer or beverage or adult beverage?
Well, we've been wanting to talk to Mario, who's our friend who books Space. We want to get him to name a double whiskey Coke Oh Well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Because that's kind of Frankie and I's go-to.
Mhm.
Whiskey Coke. We used to go to a lot of house shows and just bring like a big bottle of Coca-Cola and just drink a little bit of that and just fill it to the fucking brim with whiskey and get drunk on like one insanely strong whiskey Coke.
One and done.
Oh, exactly.
There you go.
It's,
Nice and efficient.
it's
Oh,
getting
well.
drunk. It's getting drunk on the cheap. You know, we just get a little a pint for the night.
Pint
Night
for the
pint. But yeah, I would say for me, double whiskey Coke.
What's the go-to whiskey?
Yeah.
Do you guys care about? Are you guys brand guys? Or
We are not, dude.
We want whiskey,
Kirk-
yeah.
Kirkland?
We spent many years getting Ancient Age and just paying for it the next day.
Mm.
I've kind of made a minor upgrade to Evan Williams as of late. So I'm still not grown up to get like Jack Daniels or anything respectable.
I remember one time you had like a goal to get enough to fill up a bathtub. You were gonna take
Yeah.
a band picture with it.
So
I got a lot actually. You had like a big trash can.
I
at one
had
point.
probably, and what was funny is that I actually ran into a friend who had like 50 of these Ancient Age bottles. But I would say, probably like 150.
You had a shit ton of them, yeah.
150 of like, what is it, a liter? The big
like,
whiskey
yeah.
bottles. They smelled really bad after a while.
You didn't want to bathe it?
No, I was planning on taking a photo, but I just, for one reason or another, I was gonna do it for my solo stuff that was gonna come out at the time, but kind of evaporated. But yeah, we're fans of whiskey for sure.
Going on to our next one. I forgot in what interview, but Frank said in this interview that maybe the life that we're living is actually hell. So what would you guys heaven be?
Remember how we were talking about the weed that one time?
Yeah.
Well, I'm always about this idea that there's kind of just cycles that go through everything. Like in OL, as crying is heaven, as peak of this cloud. It's kind of this idea that like when you're just at something so long, it eventually sucks. It turns into fucking hell. And then what you thought was hell isn't so bad. So I think that's probably what I was hinting at. Yeah, some interviews we get a little
Introspective,
over the top, yeah. In more ways than one. But yeah, that's what this project in general, everything that it kind of boils down to that,
If you do it long enough, it sucks.
Yeah,
Which makes sense.
Yeah, there's like this theory in music, like too much consonance equals dissonance, So you have to like have this balance of just like, this kind of dissonant feeling with the consonant feeling. That's what makes consonance is the dissonance and vice versa. I just think that's like the overall concept of all of it.
Jobs suck, and anything you do too often turns into a job.
Amen. Except podcasting.
Yes, except music, I guess.
Except, yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
Well, no, that's not
No,
true.
it does
Sometimes it
suck after a
sucks.
while.
Yeah. Sometimes it does. But that's not because you don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's just some humps, but you get over it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all about those cycles and those highs and those lows.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Well, if you don't have any lows, then you can't appreciate the highs.
exactly, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, going back to something about jobs, do we have to thank the Landmark Movie Theater in La Jolla for Spooky Cigarette?
I guess.
Yeah,
So.
I think 100%.
Or I guess you have to fucking thank my tyrannical boss that made me want to transfer over to
That actually is true. We have to thank, what's her last name? Marin what?
Marin. I don't remember her last name. Don't care.
Marin.
But that's exactly that for what I was just said. I went from hell in this job. And then went to that job, and it was way better. And we became Spooky Cigarette.
Yeah, he had a terrible job named Marin. Terrible boss named Marin at the Hillcrest. I'd love if she listened to this too. Somebody.
I hope she does.
I hope she does. She's the worst.
Yeah.
She has these dead eyes. She's still a manager there too. So if you ever go into the Hillcrest, the Landmark Hillcrest, and you see this woman who's just like looking at you like
That
with these.
obvious.
They're like blinkless.
With
like,
you, dude, exactly, like doll's
soulless.
eyes.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah. Except she always has this like weird half smile on too. It's
Right.
But anyway, yeah, she terrorized him, and so he ended up transferring to the Landmark La Jolla, which is where Skylar and I both worked. And we were I think I was probably like 19 or 20 at that time.
No, you were old enough.
Probably
to
21.
drink,
I worked there for a while. Skylar and I had been jamming for a while. It took us forever to convince Frank to, because he was in, this was at the time when he was touring with Beaters and going on tour with the Softpack and stuff. And we finally convinced him, and the first stuff we made was just god awful. Yeah, but it took us a while, and we finally sort of started figuring it out.
Trial and error.
Yeah. But Spooky Cigarette, I mean, that's all Frankie, pretty much. It's all just, you know, he's the visionary behind all of that. We all collaborate in elements, but all of the structure and everything is this dude. And so any like cred that this project does get, it should go to Frankie's songwriting chops.
And a horrible boss.
Yeah, and a horrible boss. But yeah, we all did end up getting fired from the Landmark in La Jolla.
Yeah.
And
You don't seem too bummed about that.
it kind of sucked at the time,
Oh.
but not really.
Yeah,
we all
looking
kind
back
of
on it.
yeah.
Especially now that it like got torn down.
Yeah, it got
and,
torn
like,
down.
We would have got fired. It would have been over at one point anyway.
Yeah.
And you guys mentioned you guys created field trips. You guys are kind of working on that now. Can you talk about like what the motivation or why you guys decided to create that?
It originally just started as, you know, a little label that we were going to put things out on. We wanted to throw some shows, wanted to do like zines and stuff like that. We originally wanted it to be really, really expansive and the whole kind of blog aspect too. Over the years, we've kind of pared it down into something more realistic and manageable. It's kind of just represents show booking platform and record label at this point. We still have plans to do more zines, I think. And
Will you do your playlist too?
oh yeah, I do a monthly local playlist for Listen SD, music blog in town. If you guys are ever looking for good bands to have on your podcast.
Listen, that's
Not to toot my own horn, but check out those playlists, dude.
Yeah.
I put some fire stuff
All
on
right.
yeah, I have there are some field trips events coming up soon. On July 29th, Danny from Splavender and I were throwing a festival at his family's nursery. It's called Be Well Fest.
Oh yeah.
And it's 14 bands.
I think Buddha Trixie's doing
Yeah.
Buddha Trixie's playing.
Yeah.
It's Buddha Trixie, Splavender, Low Shadows, Low Points, Peggy 183, Elise Trow, Billy Changer from LA, Moon Ensemble from LA, Red Pears from LA, and I'm forgetting some people right now. But it's going to be really, really rad. All the profits are going to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So just trying to raise some money for a good cause and throw the coolest show we can in the meantime. There's also going to be an art show curated by this really awesome art collective called Weird Hues, and a mobile zine library, Verbatim Books in North Park. It's a really rad little bookstore. Oh yeah, also Matt Lampkin from Softpack. His new solo project is playing. My good friend Svelte and the Red Pears from LA.
Believe it or not, that was more of the serious part of the interview. Now we're gonna move on to some like lighthearted, fun questions.
Cool.
The next question is, if you could replace yourself in the band with a celebrity to fill in for you, who would it be?
It'd be something really over the top, like.
I would say David Duchovny, because I know that I saw him live recently, and from that experience, I know that my job would not be in jeopardy. Because his music skills are not necessarily...
Was he that's the guy in Californication?
It's Mulder from the X-Files.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, he's in
Or
California
Frank
too.
or Hank in California.
Exactly, yeah,
Right.
exactly. I saw his folk band play at the Music Box.
Oh, he's an actual musician?
Well...
We wouldn't go as far as say
Debatable,
musician.
yeah.
Debatable, okay.
I'd say he's an aspiring musician who's going on national tours.
Mm.
Well, to play off of that, I would do, what's his name, Corey Feldman?
Oh
my god!
Because that Angel Rock, bro.
Oh, dude, that mic thing, did you guys see that mic thing recently?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, we just stepped on the mic stand and just smashes him right in the face. Oh, dude. I have to say that his hoverboard chops are on fucking point. Dude.
Super band right there. Oh my god.
Right.
But no, I don't know for like a good reason.
Dude,
but
Corey
still a
Feldman.
super band.
We should get like Corey Feldman, David Duchovny, who are the other just like disgraced human beings like on
I
the
think
planet.
like Bruce Willis had one at one point.
Oh,
Maybe
Bruce
a long
Willis
ass
would be a
time
good
ago.
one. Yeah, Bruce Willis would be
Steve
good.
Martin plays banjo.
Steve Martin, he's
I
actually
think
He's
he's
good though.
Yeah,
he's actually
he's
good.
good.
Yeah.
We
We're
need,
not
like, the
gonna
real-
bash Steve Martin.
Maybe the really bad ones.
Yeah. It was funny when I saw David Duchovny. His whole band was amazing. Like his band was great.
Oh,
There's a bunch of young kids, but he just sang the whole time, and it was like brutal, and it hurt my heart because I'm a huge X-Files fan, and watching him just butcher like the weight, didn't even know like the melody to the chorus, brutal.
The video sounds pretty funny, where he's like jumping jacks on stage.
Oh,
like-
dude, it was so weird. It was like I was convinced that he booked this whole tour, and then just kind of forgot. And, like the day before tour, he's like, "Oh shit! Like I gotta learn all these songs. Like I gotta learn these songs that somebody wrote for me. It was pretty brutal. Please forgive me, David, if you're listening. I will.
Huge fan.
Huge fan.
Just stay in your lane.
Yeah.
And so you guys known each other for a long time. You guys have been multiple bands. Same with Skylar. And then you guys have 2 other members, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, let me
Yeah,
see.
Danny Gallo.
And Pepe?
And Pepe Gonzalez,
Yeah, Danny plays bass. Pepe plays guitar. He also plays in Los Shadows. Skylar plays drums. We already said we did it earlier.
And so you guys, been a band for, it's been 2 years? Or almost?
Like a year and a half.
Year and a half. And you guys done multiple shows together. And so I just want to know, what's the pet peeves you guys have for each other?
Pet peeves. They're really not pet peeves.
How about this? I'll tell you guys what everybody's pet peeve about me is.
Okay.
I'm very pushy. And I am. Look at her shaking his head.
Well, you were admitting it last night. Before a show, he always has to call everybody.
Yeah,
3 times. And it's like,
you're on your way.
It's like, dude,
I'm like an anxiety case, like a stress case, and so I always have to check in. Like, I feel like I inherited all of this sort of like nervous control freak anxiety from my mom, who is amazing. But I'm sorry, Mom, I did. And so I always have to like be on top of everything and know exactly what's happening, or else I just get stressed the fuck out. It's like an impulse. I can't even stop it. I'm like, I go to call Frank and I'm like, he's not going to like that I'm calling him. Oh,
oh, dude, yeah. It's like, I'm going to show up, alright? Like, I remember the show. Like, this is the second time you called me. 8 o'clock.
How far are you away? It's like, I'm pulling in. It's like, oh, I don't see you. Where are you pulling in?
Yeah. Well, have you ever called someone and they're just like, I have no idea, like, I totally forgot?
Yeah, actually.
Wait, that's happened?
Yeah, it has. I can't remember the show, though. It was, actually, it wasn't in this band, though. It wasn't in this band.
Oh, okay.
It was I think it was for Cooties. I think it was Ren. Ren forgot that we had a show for his own band.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, like, where are you at? Like, we're all setting up right now. He's like, what do you mean? Like, for the show for your band. He's like, oh, I'm on my way.
And if that happened in his band, like, of course it happened in this band, so.
Alright.
I don't know. I think it's just availability is the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
I think what people don't like about me is, like, I'm just kind of disoriented. I'm not disoriented, what's the word?
Just organized?
Yeah, like, I'll go to practice, like, okay, let's learn a new song, and then, like, don't remember the chords, or, I don't know.
Alright, well, we're about to sign off, but before we do, you guys have anything to say? Where can we find you guys on social media?
Okay. Throwing all those plugs.
Yeah, we have,
Throw those plugs.
we are on Instagram, just Spooky Cigarette, Facebook Spooky Cigarette. We have a Twitter, I think.
I'm pretty sure
Spooky
you guys
Cigarette.
do,
Yeah, we
yeah.
have a Twitter. We're on, all the streaming platforms, Spotify and Instagram and SoundCloud and Bandcamp.
Title.
Yeah, Spooky Cigarette. The EP is called As Loud As I Can. Our next show is July 28th at Poorhouse Oceanside with Stephanie Brown and the Surrealistics, I think. Not like a stick, but Surrealistics.
Yeah. Okay. Glad you cleared that out.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for having us.
Oh, thank you
Yeah,
guys.
it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, at least it was easy to talk to you guys,
Okay,
Oh,
this is Undiscovered First, and I'm Christian.
I'm Charlie.
Yeah, and that's it.